Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and what I really wanted to talk about today was The Wicked King by Holly Black. I'm actually going to be reviewing the whole series, Folk of the Air, and if you've never read Holly Black's books, you should really get into it. I first came across her when I was reading Cassandra Clare, and Cassandra Clare did the Mortal Instrument series. So Holly Black co-wrote some of the, she was a co-writer on some of Cassandra Clare's books, and I absolutely fell in love with her style of writing. Both of them tend to deal with a little bit more of fantasy and the supernatural, and I'm really excited to be reviewing her series, The Folk of the Air. So far there's already 3 books out. If you include the 1.5 book, there's The Cruel Prince, there's The Lost Sisters, which is 1.5, and then there is the Wicked King. This is book 2, and then next year we are in January 2020. We're going to get the release of The Queen of Nothing, and I really can't wait for that to come out. Once again, this is a spoiler video, so if you have not read these books, do not watch this review. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but you can't say I didn't warn you. I warned you. Anyway, all right, so what I want to talk about a lot in this second book is the ending. The ending threw me for a loop. I was very upset. I was very disappointed. I wasn't really disappointed, but I definitely threw my phone across the room a lot. I was very, very upset, and I stayed up all night thinking about it. I have to let you know that I do not have the pleasure of having the hard copy or the paperback. I have the Audible version, which is narrated by Caitlin Kelly, and it is absolutely amazing. She does a great great voice performance for Jude and all of the other characters involved in the book. And oh my god. It threw me for a loop. I said, oh my god, the whole time I wanted Cardan and Jude, something to happen. So I got my wish, well, 3 times in the book. Maybe twice. Okay, so the first time in the book was when they had their moment. And if you read it, you know exactly what I mean by they had their moment. And then in the very last of it, when he asked her to marry him, I thought that this was it. I was like, they're going to be great. They're going to rule the kingdom of fairy together. They're going to be amazing. Of Elfheim, they're going to rule Elfheim. They're good. And the next thing you know is oh, by the way, bye-bye, you're banished. I said, what? My feelings were so hurt. He banished her, you buried her, and then not even 12 hours later, you banished her to the mortal world. So I got a little hurt and offended by that. And I want to go in depth to Jude and Cardan's relationship, and there's also Cardan and Baelken's relationship that I want to talk about. And Baelken is pretty much it's Baelken, Orla, and Madoc that are really the villains of this series, the villain of this book. So of this book in particular. But I want to I really want to get into Baelken, and I really want to get into Orla, but I can't right now because I want to cover everyone else's relationship that plays a major factor in how Jude is also feeling in this book. So there is Taryn. Now, a lot of people don't like Taryn, and I understand your reason for not liking Taryn, but you have to respect Taryn. And the reason why I say that is because without Taryn and Locke, who also apparently no one else likes, I read the comments in other videos, Taryn and Locke, if they hadn't had their thing going on, Jude and Cardan wouldn't be a thing. Jude would never have gone through the strengths to overthrow or challenge Madoc or overthrow the king, and none of that would have happened if it wasn't for for Taryn and Locke, because Taryn and Locke's relationship is pretty much what got the ball rolling in the chain of events. So in a sense, you may not like it, but you have to respect Taryn just for that reason. And Taryn was a straight out sneaky bitch. Period. I absolutely thought she was the sneakiest person in there because her sister was so vulnerable to her. Like, Jude was so vulnerable to Taryn. She was just like, you're the only person, the only other mortal that I know, like, personally, like, have that, like, knows the depths of my soul. And she turned around and Taryn betrayed her. So that, I know, had to hit home for her, but that was like a key factor in what happened. Now, when I say that you have to respect Taryn and you have to understand where Taryn is coming from with everything, like, Taryn and Jude have, like, since the beginning of the first book, The Cruel Prince, they have been trying to find their way, and they've been trying to find, like, a place to fit in Fairy. But what happened was, if you read the Lost Sisters, which is book 1.5, Taryn is the whole, and their whole love affair that they had going on is the whole reason that Jude and Cardan and Acacia butted heads in the first one. Like, the book itself, The Lost Sisters, fits in perfectly in time, in sync with what's happening with The Cruel Prince. It's perfectly in time and in sync. We understand why, like, we don't understand completely why Taryn does the things that she does, but we understand where her mindset is. And I will tell you that she is obsessively crazy when it comes to Locke. She has to have him. She's jealous about the other people that he's with, as we see in the second one, in the second book, The Wicked King, when she asks Jude, like, hey, I need him to not be the master of revelry. Like, we see where the jealousy is kicking in, but we also, like, that's why. Like, she's obsessed over him. She struck a deal with him in The Lost Sisters, and so now he's stuck with her. And I, like, in The Lost Sisters, we see Locke has, like, he focuses on one sister. And then in The Cruel Prince and in The Lost Sisters, we see, like, his focus shift to Jude. Because Jude's story is still unfolding with Cardan. Like, Jude still has to find her place. She's, like, completely different from Taryn in ways. Like, Taryn's a little bit more, like, laid back. She's a little bit more ready to adapt. And that's what Jude also, like, says about Taryn multiple times through the book, is that Taryn is ready to, is one that can adapt. And Jude isn't like that. Jude has never been built like that. She's always been built rebelliously. She tried to fight Maddox when Maddox killed her parents. Like, she wants to be a knight. She wants to earn her place. And that's something that, like, we see. Like, she definitely, Taryn she is considered, she wants to be a courtier. Like, that's what she wants to do. Like, but she has a hard time, like, fitting in too. And that's something that we also see in The Lost Sisters. Like, she has this hard time, like, finding her own place as well. But that's not an excuse to get jealous because your man is talking to your twin sister, and, like, what is Locke gonna bring to the table for you? Which is something that we never really get. We never get that. That is something, like, I never, like, to this day, I will not understand why Taryn and Locke are really together. Like, she just is she just comes off as obsessive. She comes off as crazy. She rants about him all the time. She's just like, oh, well, he is, like, why is he looking at my sister this way? Or why is he interested in her? And why are all these Fae interested in my sister? Like, and that's how she is in The Lost Sisters. So, I mean, to tell you the truth, I love the series, but that is one book I really just, like, regret buying, but it was $3.50, so, and it was nice to see, like, Taryn's side of the point of view, but it's not really anything that is, like, you need. It was, like, parts taken out that she just didn't fit, like, Holly didn't feel like fitting into The Cruel Prince, like, because you really could have just put, like, that whole little novella into The Cruel Prince and it would have been fine. But I mean, I see where she's coming from, but Taryn is very, like, we see Taryn is very deceptive in the second one. She tricks Cardan by pretending to switch places, you know, like the sister switch act, like Tia and Tamara would do on Sister. Like, it's just like that. Like, she is, in her own right, she is very sneaky. Like, she puts up a facade, like, I'm this nice girl, and she tricks everyone. She tricks everyone around her. I think the only person that wouldn't fall for it would be Madoc, because Madoc had these high expectations. Once Viv left to go to the human world to be with Heather, like, all the expectations he had for his relationships with his daughters fell on Taryn, in a nutshell. And that's what happened. Like, Madoc had no expectations for Jude whatsoever. He didn't want her to be a knight. I mean, give or take, it was because of the coup, but he never expected much of her. That's why she kind of like got the upper hand on him in the first book, and she outwitted him, and he's hated her ever since then. But Madoc knows what Taryn is capable of. He trained her the same as he did with Jude. Now, is Taryn as strong as Jude? No. No, she isn't. Because, like, she stopped training with Jude. Like, she's more of a strategist. She takes after Madoc in that way of being, like a strategist. She thinks about her plans. And that's something that, like, Jude thinks, and she tries to plan for the outcomes. But sometimes it just, like, we see a couple of her plans, like, kind of fall short a little bit in this one, because she has this power. Jude has this power, and she's trying to hold on to it, and it's just too much for her to take. Also, Viv, she really ticked me off a little bit in this book. She is described in The Cruel Prince as being carefree because she can get away and push Madoc a little bit more in terms of getting away with things and telling him no. Vivian can get away with a lot more stuff than Jude and Taryn. And Jude and Taryn have often said that Viv gets away with a lot of stuff and she's selfish. Now, I didn't like how Viv glammed Heather. Now, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, why would Viv do that? Why not just let Heather, like, cope in her own way? Take the girl home. She clearly doesn't want to be there, especially after the whole incident and she gets, like, expelled. Like, why would any normal human being want to be there? Now, Heather, I have to give Heather props, though, because she made it all the way to that point where she got expelled. But, like, Viv came off as a bit heartless to me, because Viv and Jude both saw how Sophie took it in the first one when they went to go rescue her from Baelkin's cat, when Jude accidentally, like, on purpose took Sophie from the castle. Sophie drowned herself. She put rocks in her pocket and she fell to the bottom of the sea because she just couldn't take it. She couldn't understand that so much of her life went missing after she went to her Burning Man festival and she was taken. And then she's, like, enslaved, and she's seen things, and she came to that realization, and it's just like she doesn't know what to do. So she commits suicide. And I thought that Viv being heartless to Heather's situation showed how selfish she really was. And I honestly don't feel like there's going to be any real, like, development with Viv. Like, she kind of has remained a consistent character with how she feels. Like, she cares for her sister, but how could she do that to Heather by glamming her? And she's got two mortal sisters, and she doesn't even tell Heather how bad Fairy is, knowing her sisters have been, like, tortured pretty much mentally and, like, physically dealing with the Fae. Like, I feel like Viv is just beyond selfish. I feel like that was I don't think her character development's gonna be any different. Like, she encourages, she's all about getting even, and that's something that we're gonna see, and I feel like we're gonna see it in the third book. Like, she's going to encourage Jude to get even with Cardan because of what happened. Like, I don't really see her developing and growing into a stronger character that has changed her ways, even if she did lose Heather and Heather was, like, the love of her life. I just don't see it.